Everything's bigger in Texas and everything's fast. It's going to be very fast here today in the Lone Star State as NASCAR's best get ready to qualify. Last week's pole winner Joey Logano didn't fare so well in the race. Could it be a turnaround this week? Casey Kane last week started outside pole. How about Kevin Harvick signing a piece of sheet metal there? I don't think it was his. That's okay. Casey Mears and his coach driver noodle things out. And Jimmy Johnson signs for the fans. The Dinger coming off a second place finish and coming to Texas. It's all FS1 NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying on Fast Friday, presented by K&N. Big cloud cover here as Ryan Newman signs for a fan. 70 degrees is the ambient temperature, a light breeze, and the track temp 100. Now, when we concluded practice yesterday, we expected it would be bright and sunny and slick here today for qualifying. And as often happens, especially when we're talking about the weather, we were wrong.
Well, we don't know about the slick part yet.
Oh, that's true. But there's a full cloud cover here, and certainly that will affect these cars that practiced into the sunset yesterday with ever-increasing speeds and lowering of lap times and big changes in the Fast Five. Well, with this cloud cover, we might expect the same today. But, Jeff, what I really liked about practice yesterday was when drivers would go out, try to set a fast time, and then wait the equivalent of the time between their runs from round 1 to 2, round 2 to 3, and go out and try to back it up.
Yeah, and you mentioned it when we first opened up this show, fast. Boy, this place is super fast. You got to have a lot of commitment as a driver because when you get into the banking, it grabs a hold of that race car, and you better be ready to get the throttle down really hard. But you mentioned it. We go to round 2. We go to round 3. The grip's going to go away really fast because this track's abrasive. What can you do on that second time out? What can you do on that third time out? And who can do it best?
And, Darrell, this track is so tricky. Of all the mile-and-a-half tracks, everybody talks about Texas. You can roll off into turn 1 as fast as you can go, and then the car can just get away from you and slide right up the hill in the middle of a lap.
Yeah, we hear the drivers talk about all the time, particularly turn 1. You basically swoop off into that corner. You kind of sweep down in there, come out of the tri-oval and sweep down in the corner, and right where the bumps are, the car lands. And when the car lands, it's going to do one of 3 things. It's going to sit down and go straight, it's going to get loose, or it's going to push. You hope it sets, and when it does, you nail that throttle. You're wide open off the corner. I don't think, I'm a track record guy, I don't think we're going to run 200 miles an hour today around this joint, but we're still going to be pretty fast.
But the nice thing about this qualifying format, if that car doesn't stick, you can go back out and try it again.
Exactly.
All right. Down to the starting line, Jamie Little.
Well, in the one and only practice session we had yesterday, Joey Logano was 3rd on the board, and we're qualifying a few hours earlier than practice ran. What are you expecting?
I actually expect something pretty similar to what we had in practice. You know, we started practice as heated today. You know, obviously this hasn't been a car on the track today, so there's going to be a little bit of difference there, but this is probably one of the more similar qualifying sessions to practice than we typically have, even though it's a day later, but the time of the day is pretty similar. So, you know, not many changes to our Shell Pennzoil Ford. It was pretty fast in practice, so hopefully it transfers over.
Joey Logano looking for his first pole at Texas.
Over the past 3 races here at the Texas Motor Speedway, Kevin Harvick's been almost money with top 3 finishes. Qualifying, though, temperature's a little bit different than it was in practice yesterday, but expectations are it will continue to build. Does that make it, you have to be even more perfect as each round goes on?
I'll be honest with you, we didn't really concentrate on qualifying yesterday with our Jimmy John Chevrolet. We just really were worried about race trim and trying to get a direction for the practice in the afternoon today. So we made 1 run yesterday and gathered some information, and I think, you know, the cloud cover is probably going to get a little better as the session goes on, so hopefully that gains a little more grip. To me it feels cooler. You say it's hotter, so I don't know.
Harvick, he's finished 2nd here twice.
Thanks, Matt. Happy birthday. All right, we're ready to qualify in Texas. Track record 200.111 miles on the line for knockout qualifying. Round 1, 24 advance. Round 2, half of those 12 advance to the final round, and we'll see who wins the Coors Light pole for Saturday night's Duck Commander 500 here in Texas. Cars lined up in order of the random draw. Kyle Busch, last week's winner. Danica Patrick getting ready to go. Here's Larry McReynolds.
You know, Mike, you and DW and Jeff, y'all are talking about going from round 1 to round 2 to round 3, and knowing that the tires are going to give up grip. Now, the one thing that's different, of course, the clouds are a little bit of a variable, but versus last night, we feel like the weather's going to be more consistent. I know talking in the garage area this morning, especially like the Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief, Greg Ives, he said it's going to be so critical of the changes we make between those rounds, and it's not completely what your driver's telling you because he can't anticipate what's going to happen. It's a lot just knowing that there's going to be less grip between the rounds going from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3.
One thing, Larry, I noticed yesterday, we had it on our telecast, the spotter was talking to the crew chief. And he was telling the spotter, remember on Dale Jr.'s run?
Yeah.
He was telling
a
him
lot of information.
Kind of up the middle of the track, looks like he's loose here, looks like he's pushing there. And that was the spotter observing the car and transferring information to the crew chief, which I think will be critical today.
Jamie?
And A.J. Allmendinger coming off his best finish of the year. Also some good speed yesterday in qualifying trim. You're going out early, though. Is that a good thing or a bad thing in your mind?
I think with this group qualifying, it's not a big deal. I mean, if we choose to wait or go out early, it's our choice. So, you know, the biggest thing is just completely different track conditions. You know, yesterday I think we started practice around 4:30, starting to cool down, and by the time we ended practice, track was fully shaded, had a lot of grip on it. So she's going to be slick. You know, it's all about trying to get through the first round and see what your car has to get in the second round. But the fun thing about the Sprint Cup Series is you never know how fast everybody's going to be. So we'll just go out there and get this Kroger Busch Bean Chevy, hopefully a good lap, get us through the first round and see what kind of grip level the track has and see if we can go second to third round and then maybe get a pole.
Thanks, AJ.
And the guy that set the benchmark in practice yesterday was Martin Truex Jr. in a 78 car, showed so much impressive speed. Track conditions, though, at the end yesterday, 90. It's 108 now. Do you feel like you're going to have to tiptoe it a little bit in the first session to save tires for second and third round?
Well, you don't want to tiptoe too much because, you know, times seem to get awful tight in qualifying. So you got to put a good lap out there, try not to hurt your tires at the same time. So it's a little bit of a give and take there, but looking forward to it. Bass Pro Toyota was awful good yesterday. The guys have really brought a good car here and done a good job so far through practice. So feel good about it, and we'll see what we can do here. Been a while since we've had a pole.
Thank you.
Drivers at the ready, just waiting for the clock. About another few minutes, and they'll be able to roll out for their 20-minute qualifying session, round 1.
You know, we've got differing opinions out there on track conditions versus yesterday. We heard Joey Logano say, oh, very similar conditions. We heard A.J. Allmendinger, oh, completely different conditions. I think that it is something they're going to have to really pay attention to is the wind, as well as will the temperature go up? We've got some cloud cover right now. Will the sun come out? It could change those things. But the biggest thing yesterday I was hearing a lot about was trying to carry a lot of speed with this new aero package and this tire down into turn 1. And when it loads up and gets in compression, they're having a lot of trouble with the front grip. So that's going to be on a lot of crew chiefs and drivers' mind, not just the first time they go out, but especially the second time.
A lot of differing opinions on temperature and on what will happen next. We're about to find out. Goes under the lights tonight. It's Xfinity Series Racing, 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Carl Edwards will be our guest analyst. Then tomorrow, Sprint Cup Racing, sponsored by KFC, 7 p.m. Eastern only on Fox or live. You can watch it on Fox Sports Go. And the track is open for round 1. And here everybody goes to go stop and line up.
No, it's ready, set, go. Ready, set, go.
We're going to take off here. You know, these are good conditions. We've got cloud cover. I don't think it's going to get any cooler than this as we go through this session.
I think that's the thing that's maybe a little confusing. Oh, we've heard a number of different, you know, stories about the track conditions, but there's there's no bright sunshine on the track. It's cloudy, a little overcast. That makes the track a little bit cooler.
40 drivers are here. 31 of them pulled out into line. 9 are still parked in their stalls based on the random draw. But right off the get-go, Jeffrey Earnhardt is going to lay down a lap here.
Yeah, Mike, you'll notice most guys will come through 3 and 4 way up high, get that momentum up. Get up high there, coming down to get the green flag right here, and then down to the bottom when they get to turn 1.
Allmendinger, Scott among those early based on the random draw, along with Kyle Larson. He had some quick laps yesterday. And Carl Edwards in his Toyota. 5 drivers going right out. Brad Keselowski now breaks out of line, heads down pit road. So does Kurt Busch. Jeffrey Earnhardt 29.107. Allmendinger 27.95.
That's a very good lap. That's
yesterday.
faster. Yep, it's faster than yesterday.
That's faster than what Martin Truex Jr. ran yesterday in practice.
Faster than anybody's practice speed is Allmendinger's lap. Kyle Larson second. Brian Scott third.
Here comes Carl. He's looking like he's going to be a little quicker.
Oh, a lot quicker.
Yep.
27.70.
Take it down.
You know, really question what kind of speeds would be out there on the track today, being, you know, this part of the day, 1:45 in the afternoon, and you know, they proved right there. The teams know how to get around the differences in track temp by the things that they do to make these cars go so fast in qualifying trim.
Mike, that's faster than the pole was here last year this race.
Wow.
Last year the pole was 27.85, so already quicker than last year's pole for this race.
Eric Almirola, Brad Keselowski out there.
And I would contribute a lot of that DW to this new Goodyear tire. They've got more aggressive, a little bit softer compound on the right side, a little bit different construction on the left.
Ricky Stenhouse fourth, Kurt Busch second, 27.94.
This is the car I'm interested in seeing come across the line.
Second. 27.80.
Wow, Carl Edwards really did put up a good lap. Now the question comes, the strategy. This is an abrasive racetrack. Did Keselowski hold a little bit back for that second time out?
I think you should if you think you can. But I heard one of the guys say that, you know, this qualifying is so tight, you got to be careful doing that.
Love seeing the sparks come off this 18 car right through the middle of the corner. There's a huge bump over the tunnel down there in 1 and 2. Really upsets these cars, but you got to be really committed to the steering wheel and the throttle. You could see sparks flying off the side skirts of this 18 car of Kyle Busch.
As long as they're not hitting too hard, they're just sparking, that's not a really bad thing.
No,
It means just sealed off.
Well, Eric Almirola third and Kyle Busch 7th out of 10.
Well, that 70's looking better all the time. 27.7 by Carl Edwards.
Remember, we're looking for the top 24 in this round. I know that lap wasn't great by Kyle, but
Denny Hamlin ninth. I wonder, Jeff, on a 1.5 mile track and at these speeds, as we watch Jimmy Johnson, can you really work to leave anything on the table?
well, you learn a lot every time you go out there, is the commitment that it really takes to get wide open and how early you can do it. So while you might not naturally be leaving it out there, you might be a little more conservative to put in one good solid lap, but knowing that you can have a little bit more for that second time
Well,
out.
and you can always go back out. If you get on that, you know, you get on the bubble there, you can always run back out there and pick up a little time if you have to. You don't want to.
Jimmy Johnson 7th. We did see in practice yesterday there was not much fall off on worn tires. Martin Truex's fast lap, I think those were 4 or 5 lap tires on them. Earnhardt 3rd.
Yeah, I think he's going to be real happy with that lap.
Nice pickup from a practice yesterday.
Matt Kenseth 10th.
Yeah, Junior really struggled with his car yesterday, but Greg Ives and that crowd, they've actually tuned that thing up.
Casey Mears 15th. Landon Castle here.
You know, somebody we didn't talk a lot about, Jimmy Johnson in that 8th position. He was one of the top 5 yesterday in practice. We've still got a lot of good cars that are going to put some laps up there, so I don't think that's the lap that they were looking for.
Last week's pole sitter.
Did you hear that?
Boy, that sounded good, didn't it? Look at that green. I mean, he got in there and it just skipped over those bumps, but it didn't look like that car bobbled one bit.
I'll tell you, he's on it, man. Look at that. He's
lost a little bit there getting back to the throttle, but still really good.
Lots of room.
Top of the chart, 27.65.
27.65, P1.
P1. I like that. That and pulling away. Those are my two favorites.
Trevor Bayne's been quick in qualifying lately. He is 12th on the board right now. Austin Dillon and Paul Menard both out there for Richard Childress Racing. Dillon 4th.
We've seen those Richard Childress Racing cars be really strong on these 1.5 miles.
That's a nice run by Austin up to 4th. Pole setter from California a couple weeks ago.
Paul Menard 15th. 28.06. And for the Wood brothers, here's Ryan Blaney.
Really saw that the back of the car rotate there through 3 and 4. It looks a little loose.
He stepped out just a tad there. He caught it all right. I don't think it hurt him that bad, but
7th. Good run. And Kevin Harvick 16th. So Josh Wise is on the bump spot, 24th. Here comes Mark.
Good to back up that speed that you had yesterday in practice. Third is excellent lap.
Chris Buescher, 24th. And here is Ty Dillon, 22nd. So that bumps Buescher. Landon Castle on the hot seat now as Brian Vickers is on his run.
Vickers, he's got some pole potential.
I believe this is the last race he is contracted for to sub for Tony Stewart.
Yeah, he's been having I've heard him a lot this week talking about opportunities that are out there, whether it's continuing on with this 14 car in the future or maybe even the Indy 500.
Yeah.
I tell you, I saw him. He got into 3 and 4. Excellent.
I think his stock just went up.
27.54.
Yeah, baby.
Good job,
It's amazing how when you're looking for a
P1.
ride, you get an extra 10th out of it. Good job, Brian Vickers.
Now you say that. Have you ever looked for a ride?
No.
No. Sorry.
But
you're right. But you are right.
Wait a minute. You only ever had one ride.
I did, but it wasn't in the Cup Series.
That's true.
But we all are motivated by different things.
Yes.
That's when I knew he was a really smart kid, when he stayed with Rick Hendrick his whole career. Don't ask me how I know.
Yes.
Yes.
We know.
Sort of like pit road speed at Martinsville, right?
Greg Biffle, 21st. And Ryan Newman. Newman 16th. Danica Patrick will be 23rd. Here's what Jimmy Johnson had to say after his run.
1 and 2 went well. A little on the snug side, if anything, all the way through, but went well. And then I adjusted my track bar down the back. Was waiting on it a little too long in 3 and 4, so the track's just way different, unfortunately.
And that may explain why he is 13th right now.
Mike, we're miles per hour wise, we're running about 195 miles an hour, a little 195 here. The pole for this for the fall race, which was a little bit quicker than the spring race, was 196. So these guys are, I mean, they're picking them up and putting them down.
David Reagan 27th and Matt DiBenedetto 26th. Now we're going to change our tracker. It will compare these drivers to 24th and see if anybody can bump Brian Scott out of the top 24. Somebody like, say, Clint Boyer.
Mike, we're only about halfway through this first round, and two drivers that jump out at me that I think they're going to have to run again. Denny Hamlin in that Joe Gibbs Toyota back in 21st. We heard Kevin Harvick say they did not work on qualifying whatsoever. He's sitting there 19th. I think that's two drivers that may have to make a second run in this first round.
Yeah, agreed. Jamie McMurray is out there. Looks like he's going to bump Brian Scott. Clint Boyer 32nd out of 34, and McMurray is in 17th. That moves Danica Patrick to the bubble.
And something I find really interesting when you have this kind of a grip situation, you've got a softer tire, it has really good grip, but we know it's going to fall off. The track's abrasive. They start really searching around on line. We saw Jamie McMurray run about a car width up through 3 and 4. We heard Jimmy Johnson talk about how he used his track bar to change what he was doing and what the car was doing in 3 and 4. That's what's going to make this form of qualifying the multiple runs really interesting.
See what Casey Kane's looking pretty racy here, guys. Chase is looking pretty good. He's coming to the line. What's he got?
Elliott is in 14th. That bumps Danica Patrick. Greg Biffle goes to the bubble. Here's Casey Kane.
Good lap
Kane's
here.
got a good lap.
Kane is 4th fastest. Biffle is out. Denny Hamlin goes to the hot seat.
Well, Kane, you know, started on front row last week, so obviously they worked on their qualifying program and gotten it a lot better. He and Keith Rodman seem to, you know, have figured out qualifying.
Saw a big wiggle there out of Cole Witt in the 98. There's Michael Annett.
You can see how he ran that lane that I was talking about up just a little bit higher.
Reed Sorensen on track as well. And when they complete their runs, every driver will have made one run.
One thing I know for sure, you don't want to wiggle in your walk.
So what we're going to really find a lot out here now, we know some drivers and teams are going to go out and make a second run. It's can you pick up? And that's where I think the debate comes down to Harvick and down to Hamlin. I know they're sitting there thinking that they're probably going to have to go out again, but I don't think they're feeling like they're going to be able to go faster the second time out, not unless they had a big mistake.
But look, if our monitor's right, everybody only ran one lap.
Correct. Michael Annett and Cole Witt, 35th and 37th. Reed Sorensen is 40th. Debris in the front straightaway will give everybody a little time to think about things, and with the red flag out, the clock stops. 8.5 minutes to go in round 1 of knockout qualifying in Texas.
Fly higher. Go further. Do more. Take it to the next level with Polaris, the world's best-selling side-by-sides. Whether you're chasing unforgettable memories, manhandling a mountain of work, or pushing the limits of work and play, we've got the perfect machine built just for you. And now get rebates up to $2,000 during the...
Quite a bit faster than what we had yesterday when we made our mock runs, but really happy with that run. The car didn't feel great, a little off with the balance, but still got good speed. We've had good speed all weekend, so excited about the next couple qualifying rounds. We need to make maybe a big stab at it for the next round to make some adjustments on our car to be better. But so far, the Smithfield Ford Fusion's had a lot of speed in it this weekend. Another brand new car for us, so proud of everybody back at the shop. Got to continue to work hard to keep up with these guys. The field is so competitive. So really proud of Trent Owens, all the guys on the Smithfield team, and we got hopefully 2 more rounds to try and make some adjustments to have a shot at the pole.
Really nice effort so far by the 43.
It's a real guessing game for these crew chiefs and drivers trying to figure out what adjustments to make. Do you make a wedge adjustment? How much of an air pressure adjustment? What is the balance going to be? And I think because of the fall off in this tire and this aero package, the balance is going to shift quite a bit. And so it's going to be a big guessing game, as well as for the driver. How much speed do I carry down into the corner? How much do I get out of the throttle? How much can I get back in the throttle? So I'm really anxious to see what happens when they get out there the second time.
And we're only talking half a second between first and the cutoff position, 24th.
Oh, yeah, and as a driver, it drives you crazy. You know, maybe I just need to get on a second quicker, or maybe I need to drive in just a little wee bit harder.
Well, if we're going to even take that a step further, if you're Greg Biffle down in 25th, we're talking about 200ths of a second that he has to make up.
Yeah.
Oh, big wiggle here by the 13 of Casey Mears.
That was ugly.
Almost came around.
The guy on the hood almost jumped off.
And he's slower than his first lap by a full second. Here's why.
Woo. This is not good.
Look at it, wiggling. And he doesn't want to give up on it, though. I think he probably felt like he had a pretty good lap going up to that point.
Casey said on the radio, it felt like something broke.
Yeah, traction.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
I don't know if it broke or not, but it's getting ready to.
That's a shout out to our buddy Ken Schrader right there. Yep. Anytime you ever talk to Kenny, he said, "Yeah, I think something broke traction."
One of those important parts usually is what Schrader'd say.
Oh, booty will tighten.
Traction a lot of times is the most important part.
That's right. Chris Buescher made a second run along with Casey Mears, but neither improved on their first lap time. Now we still have 6.5 minutes to go. Denny Hamlin sitting on the hot seat at 28:08.
Woo.
Casey Kane fourth quickest out of his car. Ty Dillon rolling back out.
Yeah, that was
interesting situation on Dillon's car here. Circle Sport, Levine Family Racing joined forces this year. And they are running the 95. Usually Michael McDowell's behind the wheel. They have an alliance with Richard Childress Racing. And so in selected events, they field a car for Ty Dillon. In this case, the car, the crew, just about everything but I guess the number and the entry are provided by Richard Childress Racing in this case.
And Todd Parrott, the crew chief on the car this weekend, he's won a race or two here. I think he won here with Elliott Sadler. He may have even won here with Dale Jarrett, I think. So he knows the racetrack very well, knows how to get the cars set up for to go fast here.
Green light for Ty Dillon. He's going to try to bump in and knock Denny Hamlin out of the top 24. And now we go red light.
Yeah, he certainly carried a lot of speed into the center of the corners, but to me, it's all about carrying that speed on the exit.
Got through here looking
still
a little
nice
bit better,
lap,
yeah.
but I don't think it's going to be enough. No.
Nope. So Ty Dillon finishes up, and he is 2/10 slower than his first run. Matt?
5 minutes remaining. Brad Keselowski currently 6th on the board, so the track temperature's gone up another 5 degrees, but we are in much more of an overcast condition. What stood out to you most about your run?
you know, first run, track's got a lot of grip. There haven't been any cars on the track. It doesn't have all the rubber on it, and it's kind of cool. Jeff's up in the booth. Help me out here, Jeff. But anyway, so the track had a lot of speed, but that's not going to sustain itself for the next 2 runs. So just trying to hold on to it and make sure you make the right adjustments.
Thanks, Mike.
You know, he brings up a really good point. I'll try to fill in the gaps here, Brad. Especially an abrasive racetrack, when cars have not been on the track, it seems to be a little cleaner and seems to have a little bit more traction and grip. And you'll see that with the early cars. But as more and more cars go, that rubber fills into those crevices, and then the grip starts to go away. So I'm going to be very surprised if anybody can pick up speed their second time out, which tells me the crucial things are going to happen in this practice or in this qualifying session. Biffle's getting ready to roll down pit road. Danica Patrick, those are 2 cars that I think can possibly pick it up. That's who Denny Hamlin, Paul Menard, Kevin Harvick are looking at, saying, okay, that's the crucial cars out there that can possibly knock us out. When do we go?
Now, Clint Boyer just finished his run. He is the first driver to run a quicker second lap. But his first lap, he had difficulty down in turn 3. So he was faster, but he did not move up the board from 36th. Jamie?
Well, I just talked to Denny Hamlin's team, and they're just sitting here waiting as they sit on the bubble. The car felt really unstable with that one and only lap he turned, so they just made an air pressure adjustment. Mike Wheeler, his crew chief, just told me they're going to wait till there's about 1 minute to go, and they'll roll again.
Yeah, I doubt anybody down in the 20s is going to roll until somebody runs a quicker second lap than their first lap.
When again, we got Greg Biffle out there on the track right now. I think this is a big lap for everybody to watch that's on the edge of you know, that bubble. And right now,
wow,
he's looking green. He's looking good.
He's gaining.
So they're going to have to start rolling.
Yep.
They're probably watching our monitor and seeing this, and that 11 car is going to, you know, more than likely roll out there because he knows he's going to get knocked down the list.
Great lap for Biffle. He holds all of what he gained in turn 1 and 2 through 3 and 4.
Good job, Greg.
Good job.
He's in 9th for Greg Biffle. That bumps Denny Hamlin. It moves Paul Menard onto the hot seat.
And I stand corrected. They went faster. I didn't know if they were going to.
That's right.
And Jeff, I think that we were in 27:54. I bet you the second one. I think they'll run a little bit quicker.
You think so?
I believe they will.
Danica Patrick's car
watch what they did yesterday.
I do think some held back. I really do. So I think it is possible. I don't know if we'll see go quicker the third round.
Patrick a little slower on lap 2. Denny Hamlin trying to keep his streak intact. He's been in the final round of qualifying every race this year.
This is a lot of pressure on a driver right here. You know you've got a good race car. You've got to go lay down that perfect lap. You're thinking about what line to run, how hard can you push it, what's the grip level going to be. You know you got to go faster than what you went.
I believe he can. I think that first time out, I just don't think they hit it exactly right. I believe he'll advance.
We're getting down to 1:20. I think you're going to need to roll in about the next 15 seconds if you're going to have a shot here.
Yeah, all the spotters and crew chiefs know there's a cutoff time of how long it takes you to leave off the end of pit road and get back to trigger the clock to make that final lap. Boy, Hamlin's flirting with it.
Close.
Real close. Look at this, right off the floor.
He's in 20th for Hamlin, and that knocks out Paul Menard. And Menard is still sitting. Now he rolls.
He was focused on getting back to the throttle, the middle 3 and 4, and carrying that speed to the start-finish line, and he did it perfectly.
I like the way he went into 3. Went in just a little high, did that sweeping down, you know, kind of almost not a diamond, but almost. Really picked his speed up off turn 4.
And that's where you learn what you did the first time out there and the things that you can try to, you know, anticipate to hopefully pick up the time.
Guys, Paul Menard is just barely going to get this green flag, but I think he will get his lap started.
Well, Kevin Harvick is on the hot seat, and Harvick has not gone back out on the racetrack.
Has Harvick ever been knocked out in round 1? Or when the last time that happened? I can't imagine.
Well, Harvick's worst start here since joining Stewart Haas is 5th.
He got in there really good and hard, but it just didn't stick, and he slid up the racetrack.
27 can come back. The 27 can come back.
So that means he started his lap before time expired. He is eligible to complete it.
Very uncomfortable feeling to be sitting there as Kevin Harvick. Nothing you can do other than watch.
And Menard despite that, was only a 10th slower than his first lap. So by 3/1000ths of a second, Kevin Harvick will advance. Paul Menard will not. Brian Vickers, fastest in round 1.
Routine. It's a hard thing to break. Day in, day out. From point A to B and back again. There's a difference between being alive and living. For those who can't imagine life without 2 wheels, Allstate offers a genuine parts guarantee that promises to fix your bike with original parts. Talk to an Allstate agent about all the things they do.
And just barely transferring into the top 24, which we'll show you. These are the drivers that will move on to round 2. Half of them will advance to the final round and run for the pole.
I think it's interesting to watch the laps on tires. Only one on all these top 12 right here. Only, I think, Biffle and Denny Hamlin have more than 1 lap on their tires.
Right, they were the only drivers that had to make a second run to bump back in.
I think the tires are in their prime right here. I think this is, you could lay down a fast lap right here.
Matt?
And the 14 car once again showing speed, a top 10 finish at Martinsville. And Tony Stewart, you're getting closer and closer to your comeback. What impresses you most so far of what you've seen with the leadership of Mike Bugaravich, the rookie crew chief?
Just the fact that we kind of have thrown him to the wolves this year. I mean, he was, becoming a crew chief for the first time in the Sprint Cup Series, and then, having our accident that kind of changed the plans a couple weeks before the season opener. And, to this point, he's had to run 2 different drivers all the way up to this point. So it's that in itself has been enough, to make it hard. But he's done a great job. His composure's incredible. And he knows what he needs in his cars. So, to have somebody that's got the skill that Brian has to come here, it can showcase what Booga's been doing with the cars and how good a job this 14 team's been doing.
Thanks, Smoke.
Thanks.
So now he's Booga. I mean, it's Mike, he's Booga, he's guy's got a lot of different names.
And then to add to that, Tony Stewart's going to come back in his final year, and Mike's going to have to deal with all that pressure as well. Doing a great job so far.
Lucky guy.
Welcome to the toughest challenge of your life.
4 teams will compete in a brutal military-inspired competition.
Let's go!
Led by true American heroes.
It's about your heart, above and beyond what your body can do.
What team can prove to themselves they have American grit?
American Grit premieres Thursday on Fox.
We'll go to great lengths to get you hot pizza. Introducing the 2016 Domino's DXP.
Baseball all season long, FS1, or you can watch it on Fox Sports Go. Dodgers starter Clayton Kershaw tossed 7 scoreless frames on opening day in San Diego.
Mike, we had that shot there a second ago inside the car, and it's it's so obvious why these guys are able to crash these cars and walk away. There have been so many roll bars added into these cars through the years. This one down here, you got the one that goes up over the roof. There's just so many bars that have been. Every time somebody crashes and something doesn't collapses or whatever, they figure out a way to make it better.
And for a long time, a lot of those bars had names. There was the Petty bar, the Earnhardt bar.
Right,
Do you have a bar named after you?
I'm sure there's a Waltrip bar, Gordon bar.
I'm afraid mine was called the Track Bar.
The Track Bar.
Mine's the Safer Berry. It's the Gordon Safer
Yes.
See, there's even up here, if you look right up here, I'm just noticing that there's 2 bars up there.
Yeah, that's one that was added. You can really see the driver's head moving around and bouncing, taking the loads in the corners, every bump. Look at that helmet sink down into the seat as you go into the banking, and the G load really pushes down on that driver.
Yeah, and you don't have a hose on the helmet right now to cool the driver because you want all that NACA duck and all that.
Yeah, look how high
off.
up he was, and then he crunches down. That's your whole spine and neck and everything compressing down into the seat, into the banking.
200-mile-an-hour chiropractic here. A.J. Allmendinger, 28-20. 28-16 for Kyle Larson.
Really solid lap by Carl Edwards going right here.
Top of the board.
out.
Wow, 27.66.
That's faster than he went just by a little bit in the first round. So that's
Ricky Stenhouse, 27.97 is second. Eric Almirola is fifth. Let's take a look at Carl Edwards on his get up to speed lap coming out of the pits and coming through turn 4.
So he chose to run the middle lane. Whoa! I don't think he planned on doing that.
A little jukey off turn 4 there, but
it was.
Didn't hurt him too bad. Here's Dale Jr. Let's see what he does.
A lot of these drivers choose to run up the racetrack, getting a big run off of turn 4 and carrying the momentum so they can have more speed going into turn 1 on their lap.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. third, 28.04.
Junior's just staying out of the throttle just a little wee bit too long. He needs to be able to jump back in that gas a little quicker.
And you can see Keselowski go up the racetrack right there a little bit.
Kurt Busch fifth, Matt Kenseth second. Brad Keselowski second with a 72.
I think he learned something right there too. Going up the racetrack like that, that'll teach him a lot for the third time he's going to go out in round 3.
Let's see how much quicker. I mean, Logano's back in the gas pretty quick.
This car just looks so solid and planted.
And really accelerates.
Little wiggle over the transition there onto the back straightaway, but not
see
much.
What he does here, Jeff.
Ooh, you could hear him trying to get back to the throttle, but it wouldn't quite take it.
No, he's way out of it.
It's going to cost him a little bit of time here, but still really good lap's going to get him to round 3.
Third for Logano, just 1/100th behind Keselowski's lap.
I think that problem he had was in turn 3 there, Mike. He couldn't quite get back in the gas quick enough.
Trevor Bayne sixth, good lap.
Blaney's on a good one. He's coming off turn 4 here, got some good speed. But I think he lost a bunch of.
Still good.
27.81, that should be good.
I think so.
Yellow numbers back on Jimmy Johnson's car. They did that last year at Miami as a tribute to you, Jeff, who you had yellow numbers most of your career with a 24.
I did. For a while there, Rick wanted all the Hendrick cars to have those yellow numbers. He liked the way they really stood out. And it certainly does stand out. But they've had some great success having those yellow numbers too, so they're back. Of course, they've had pretty good success this year without them.
I think they can cover the numbers up and they'd have good success. That thing is just always.
Jimmy's been doing a rockets and race cars thing with local area schools here on technology and how it transfers to the racetrack.
Car's not happy.
Seventh for Johnson, 27.98. And that
be right
bumps Almirola. So Allmendinger, you see the yellow line on the right of the screen. Allmendinger bumped by Martin Truex, who is fifth. Kurt Busch goes to the hot seat.
Kyle Busch got real close to the wall, exiting turn 4.
Kyle Busch bumps his brother. Kyle is 10th. Kyle Larson now in the bubble.
See what the 4 cars got for us. Listen, he's barely, he's not even all the way out of the gas.
Just looking over. What do you say? Still way too loose?
Yeah,
I think
but he could never get back all the way in it. You could hear him just trying to get back, but couldn't.
He's still just not happy with it.
He just can't get it wide open. He's never all the way out, but he can't get it wide open.
That won't do it. 14th for Harvick. 5 minutes to go in this session. Jamie McMurray 12th, bumps his teammate Kyle Larson.
I think this might get Austin Dillon for round 3. Yeah,
it will.
Definitely.
4th for Austin Dillon. That bumps McMurray, Earnhardt to the bubble.
It's just so fun to watch it. Don't you love to see a team that's improved and they're getting good results and the driver's pumped up, everybody's pumped up. I love watching that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch.
All right, we'll switch our tracker to the battle for 12th, which right now is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here comes Ryan Newman.
Jeff, it seems like just from listening, everybody is backing off the throttle way before they even get to the turn. But as soon as they get the car nose down, they're back wide open.
Yeah, and I think, again, that has to do a lot with this aero package, less front downforce in the car. They just can't carry all that momentum and speed into the corner because the front just doesn't stick soon enough.
Newman 14th, Casey Kane 13th. And Earnhardt remains on the hot seat against Chase Elliott. Yes, 7th for Elliott. Earnhardt is bumped and Kyle Busch is on the bubble. Here comes Brian Vickers. Busch may not be there long.
I love watching that shot. And
had his hands
on the
full there,
steering wheel.
brother. But he's coming.
He's still good.
He did it. 12th.
Oh, boy, just squeaked in there.
27.99. That bumps Kyle Busch. Still 2 drivers left to complete a lap, and that would be Denny Hamlin and Greg Biffle. And remember, they were the only drivers who ran twice in round 1, trying to get maximum cool down there.
And that's absolutely it, Mike. Remember, both of them not only had to make a second run, it was right near the end of round 1. So I think we'll see them wait it out here, just trying to cool those tires down as much as possible.
I believe this kid, right? I believe Greg Biffle, man. I tell you, he's pretty good on these 1.5 mile racetracks. The whole car's running pretty good too. So wouldn't surprise me if he slipped himself in there in the top 12.
Yeah, we saw him being really the only car. I mean, we talked about Boyer, but with the 16 of Greg Biffle, the only car that went faster in that first round his second time out and improved his position. So I think that was really valuable information, even though it did put some extra heat and laps on the tires.
Darrell, I have to give you credit. You said you felt like if you had a good race car, you could pick up in round 2. And when I look at our top 12 right now, I think I'm right in saying 8 of the top 12 picked up their time from round 1.
Yeah, Larry, I just felt like, that one lap that they were able to run to get into this position really gave them an advantage going into this round. The tires pretty close to being what I would consider right in their prime.
Yeah, to Larry's point, all of the Fast 5 right now ran quicker in round 2 than in round 1.
Yeah, and that absolutely amazes me. When we come to a track where we've got a softer tire, a very aggressive or abrasive racetrack, and as hard as you've got to push to be committed to make that lap around here, I never expect them to go faster, and yet they find a way.
Yeah, and we're kind of old school. I mean, I'm old school. Everybody always think got to have 4 tires. Every time there's a car, got to have 4 tires. But how many races we've seen this year? We saw it Martinsville. We saw it Phoenix. Guys stay out and still able to maintain speed.
Biffle doing a great job here.
Going to be close. Biffle versus Vickers.
Boy, he had it till the middle 3 and 4 there.
Yeah.
13th. He misses it by 8 1/1000ths of a second.
And all that was right down here off turn 4.
Now Biffle. Brian Vickers has climbed out of his car, so apparently he's not going back out, though he is on the hot seat.
Hamlin
and about 5 more cars have gone out now.
I think Hamlin's going to get him.
Yeah, he ran a little bit higher in 3 and 4 there that
9th
time.
for Denny Hamlin. He's
96,
in.
96 P9. Cool it down, nice and easy.
Trevor Bayne is now on the hot seat.
I just think with the 14 car, they realized that they ran their lap a little bit later into this session, and they know they can't get it cooled down fast enough to get back out there and improve their time.
Eric Almirola a little slower, only by a couple of hundredths. Does not pick up. Casey Kane a little quicker that lap, but it's not going to be enough to break into the top 12. And I'm corrected, 4 of our Fast 5 quicker in round 2. Joey Logano just ticked slower, a couple of hundredths.
Kevin Harvick's out there right now. He really looked pretty good getting into one, but then the car pushed up the hill, and he's just out of it.
Time expires now. I believe the 6 got by before the expiration of time, and here comes Kurt Busch, and Kurt is slower.
If I had to guess, I'd say Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick have very similar setups in the car. They're both right now 21st and 22nd.
18 and 19, that's their times. One ran at 18, one ran at 19, 28.
Now Bayne backs off because he's in the top dozen. He's going to be the last car to advance.
Got to save those tires for round 3.
Carl Edwards, fastest in round 2.
These creamery shakes are so rich and creamy.
I know. Finally a shake for an aficionado like myself.
Wait, you're a shake aficionado?
Not a shake aficionado. The shake aficionado.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, perhaps you could be one too. Go ahead.
It's a coolness. It's cold.
Okay, ice cream is cold. Stop the presses, guys. Ice cream is cold. Says Pete. Print it.
New slow-turned creamery shakes are here in premium flavors like bourbon brown sugar. And all shakes are half price after 8.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., 16th fastest. What'd you struggle with most, Junior?
We really weren't that far off. I mean, half a tenth and we'd have made the next round. And
The car wasn't very close yesterday, but we made a lot of changes last night. Me and Greg were texting back and forth, and the guys did a good job really getting the car closer, and I really liked the first run. We had a good lap there, but maybe a little bit too tight entering. Maybe I overdrove the entrance a little bit and made it that way, but we'll just go back and check it out. I had to lift and use a little bit of brake in turn 1 and 2, and that's never good.
Now, you don't know this, but Hellman's, one of your corporate partners on your Xfinity program, announced once qualifying began that your Blessings in a Backpack initiative, that they are going to donate $50,000 to that program.
Incredible. So we Hellman's has been a great partner of ours. Unilever has a lot of products that we help promote at the junior motorsports level. That's great. It's gotten a lot of publicity for Blessings in a Backpack, which is a great program we've worked with for a long time with the Dale Jr. Foundation. If you want to donate, go to DaleJr.Sandwich.com. I'm going to pledge my entire $50,000 as well. So that's $100,000 plus whatever the fans bring along with it. It's going to feed a lot of kids and make a lot of people happy.
Nothing like a mayo and banana sandwich. Jamie Little?
Good for Dale Jr. That's great. Now, Kyle Larson qualified 20th. Where'd you feel like you lost a little bit of time there in the second round?
Probably just being able to roll enough speed and get back to the throttle. I needed to get back to it sooner. I was just too tight. Target showed it was pretty tight yesterday in practice, and we freed up. We knew we had to free up a lot for our scuff runs, but maybe we just didn't go far enough, or maybe we got on the splitter trying to free it up. I'm not sure, but we were definitely too tight that second run, and just couldn't roll enough momentum and speed, so qualified pretty bad. But we have a practice later tonight, so hopefully we can get it better for race trim. I was really loose in race trim yesterday, so if we can meet somewhere in the middle of where we were in qualifying to race trim, we'll be pretty good.
All right, Mike, the track cooled off about 15 degrees from round 1 to round 2.
Wow. Thanks, Jamie. Impressive by Denny Hamlin. He's made it in the final round for every race this season, and for the first time this year, 5 Fords have advanced to the final round of qualifying. That is coming up right here on FS1 as Jimmy and Chad debrief.
At Joseph A. Bank, for 4 days only, save up to 70% on almost everything in the store, including 70% off all suits and sport coats in all fits, from slim to big and tall. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
With the sweet burn of moonshine on a burger, it's not illegal, but it tastes like it. Introducing the Midnight Moonshine Burger. Only at Hardee's and Curls.
Dab Taxac, great calls in the car this weekend. Really wanted the pole. I just got really loose down to 1 and 2. I wasn't expecting it. We made a small air pressure change. Maybe that was it. Maybe I just missed it. I don't know. But it got out from underneath me. I ran the track bar down the backstretch, and I was great in 3 and 4. It was just too little, too late. But we got a great car going to the race. Glad we held on to it.
Thanks, Brian and Mike.
Carl Edwards will be the first driver to test the clock in round 3. Joey Logano's out there.
Carl's been the first car out all 3. I mean, he's been the first cat on the track every time.
You know, he's watched Joey Logano do that and be real successful with it.
So I'm going to get out there and I'm going to give you something to shoot at.
Martin Truex out there as well.
Car certainly looks good. I mean, it gets right down to the white line. Gets a little loose here off of 4, but still carrying a lot of speed.
27.74.
I think that's a very good lap.
That would have been second fastest in round 2.
Let's see what this cat's got.
27.93 for Logano. Martin Truex second. Identical time to Logano for Truex. 27.935.
Here's the one we got to watch right here. Brad Keselowski's been on the pole here before. It's been really solid. A lot of times the Penske cars haven't fallen off in round 3 as much as others, but looked like he had some trouble getting off turn 2 there.
Sounded like he almost had to get out of it. I don't know if that was just our sound or not, but it sounded like it.
Well, this just goes to show you how good that lap was of Carl Edwards.
Keselowski 4th, 28.02. And Ryan Blaney in there in 4th now, 27.99. Matt Kenseth on the clock. The tie between Truex and Logano down to the 1,000th of a second would be broken by points. So Logano is second right now and Truex third.
Now look at Logano, and he's right there in 3rd place, and Keselowski's in 5th. And there's Blaney right between them in 4th.
It doesn't show that way on the running order because Truex set the time first, and that's how that's determined. But Logano would move up to second the way they are right now, and we just did.
and you could see how Matt Kenseth couldn't quite get down to the white line like we saw Carl Edwards, and the amount of speed he's carrying right on the bottom. Kenseth chooses to move up the track a little bit more, just not quite carrying the same speed.
That's what Denny Hamlin did to make it into this round. He ran that very kind of center of the track where we see him right now. He didn't go all the way to the bottom. That's actually Chase Elliott.
And really, Carl's the only one I've seen be able to do that. So it shows you how good his car's working as Chase Elliott goes to 4th. Good job.
They're cooling down the 22 of Logano. He may make another run. We don't often see that in the final round.
What do you got to lose, Mike?
Good question.
Round.
Good question. You're right, Larry.
Boy, Jimmy is running a little bit higher than Jimmy Johnson in the 48, a little higher than what we've seen.
Yeah, we saw him try this out in practice yesterday, trying to learn something, maybe looking forward and ahead to today, see if it could pay off.
8th for Austin Dillon.
Still run the middle of the track, way up the hill.
Could just barely see that splitter smack that bump right there coming off of turn 4. It really upsets the car when that happens.
Hamlin with more laps
Johnson
in this session than anybody in the final round, trying to wait out to the last moment. Jimmy Johnson 9th, Ricky Stenhouse. 1 minute to go.
Whew, that's good looking right there.
Yeah, you saw some fire fly up on that thing.
What I like to see is when they arc that car in there, it just starts to point and stays on the bottom of the racetrack like Carl Edwards. And this had a little bit more of that look right here with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Hamlin rolling
down,
now,
tail
and Logano's coming back out for a second run.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it to the line in time to get the lap going.
5th for Ricky Stenhouse. Great run.
If he...
Trevor Bayne.
Boy, it's going to be close on that 22. He's going to...
Nah.
Bayne is 11th. So waiting on Hamlin. They've got 20 seconds to get to the line.
He's not gonna
That's when the flag will wave. You must start your lap before the flag waves. 10,
I think
9, 8, 7, 6,
yeah, no, he
5,
made it. Good job.
4, 3. He did it. So this lap will count.
Everybody can continue.
He got it back down to the white line like we saw with Carl Edwards.
Hamlin coming to complete his lap.
Yeah, he just had to get out of the gas, I think, too much right there to keep it on that white line.
Hamlin is 6th. Logano will be the last qualifier. Here he comes. Can he take the pole away? No. He will be 2nd over Mark Truex Jr. And Carl Edwards scores his 17th career pole, his 2nd one at Texas, and he breaks the string of 12 straight pole winners. He won the pole here in November of 2013, and he is our 7th different pole winner this season.
3 wins at this place, too.
Edwards and Logano will be your front row. More to come from Texas next.
Your name's been in a lot of places. But there's only one place you really want to see it.
You jumped out there first. What benefit did that have for you?
I don't know if there's any benefit, but that was our plan, just to try to go out first. And I'm assuming Joey had a bad lap, and then he went out to do it again, because I know that feeling. I made a little mistake, and I thought that was going to be going to cost us. Fortunately, my car is very fast. I mean, everybody from Stanley and all the folks that are here supporting us, this is a huge deal for us to get our first pole of the year. And I just can't say enough about the guys. I mean, that car is great. Dave's been working really hard, and we're having a good time.
We come to Texas. It's a lower downforce package, different tire. What does that mean for Carl Edwards here, who, by the way, has 3 wins?
I like it here. I really enjoy Texas. I got a lot of friends here. Eddie makes this place really fun, a fun place to race. But the tire, for me, I don't know what the other guys feel so far, but to me it feels like that tire and this downforce package lets me go in the corner and move the car around and feel the tire underneath me. And even in qualifying, there were times I got a little sideways or slid a little bit and I could recover. And that's really fun as a race car driver. So, hopefully the race goes well. We got some practice here, and this really cannot thank my guys enough. They're unbelievable.
popular and excited Carl Edwards gets the pole. Matt?
Jamie, Joey Logano took not one but two swings at making it on the pole. Did you let something lead you to believe that maybe you had a little bit more left in the car after you made that first attempt?
It's just a last-ditch effort. It's funny because where we were really good on 1 and 2, and that's where we were beating the 19. And then I went in there the last time, and it didn't turn like it was. I was like, oh, no, it was our good area, and we actually fixed 3 and 4 to where we were pretty good down there. So we just kind of flip-flopped, and we kind of needed both. And I felt like, I knew the adjustments we needed to go faster, and Todd took a swing at what he felt like was right. And just another run on your tires is just so hard to go faster at this track. There's so much fall-off, and it makes it a lot of fun for qualifying because you're slipping and sliding like you're on 20-lap tires, but you're only on 3. But it's just it's crazy out there. So much fun qualifying. Just it's awesome to have another front row starting spot. But I wanted the shotgun to go with the 6-shooters I got a couple years ago.
Your team's so strong when it comes to intermediate racetracks. Do you like the trends you've seen so far with the tire Goodyear brought and just the conditions this weekend?
Oh, it's going to be a handful for sure. We made some race runs yesterday in practice, and after about 10 laps, they fall off harder than ever before, and it's a handful to say the least. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a tough 500 miles, but it's going to be a lot of fun as well. So I'm looking forward to practice here in a little bit.
He's had a lot of good runs here. In fact, in the last 6 races, 4 top 5 finishes at Texas. Jamie?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., great qualifying effort. I guess you tied your best start of the year now, 5th. But we keep hearing about practice coming up in just a few hours. The schedule's a little different for you, so what's the focus going to be?
It is. I like that we're practicing later in the day so that it'll be more like our race come Saturday night. But Zest Ford Fusion was really good there in qualifying. After we made some adjustments, we were a little bit off that first round, which is good, though. We were, the car's got some some ability to be worked on and to get faster. And so that's what we're going to do in this next practice is just continue to work on our car. Man, the tires are going to wear out. I think it's going to be similar to Atlanta. We're going to have to look at our Atlanta notes. I think the tires are going to wear out. The car's going to slide a lot. We had a good result at Atlanta. So hopefully it's a similar driving car to what we had at Atlanta, and we can come home with another solid top 10. We've been working really hard, and everybody at the shop is pumped up and loves the 1.5 miles right now, but we still got a lot of work on the short tracks, but I think we're gaining in all aspects of our race cars at Roush Fenway, so it's fun times right now.
Definitely a strength for you guys, these type of racetracks. Mike?
Great run for Stenhouse. He will start 5th as our front row starters for tomorrow night talk things over.
Take on the unexpected. The new 2016.
Carl getting shotgun lessons.
Yeah, some cool trophies out there. That's one of them.
That baby is nice.
So here's your starting lineup for Saturday night in Texas. Toyota and Ford on the front row. Edwards Logano, Truex and rookie Chase Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse, Denny Hamlin, a nice comeback to make it to the final round every race this season. Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Matt Kenseth, Austin Dillon, your top 10.
Pretty racy top 10 there.
Yeah, and some rookies up there in the top 10.
I love
it.
Yeah, Chase, Ryan.
Look at that row 8, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I'm loving it, though, that if we talk about the 24 and the 21, there's the 3. Austin Dillon, 10. These young men are really making a big push this year. Running great.
rows, 40 cars deep when the lineup Saturday night on Fox. Post-qualifying inspection looks, it's in progress, looks complete now. And we will have final practice for you coming up later on this afternoon.